Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
Where'd you get those shoes? Easy. They're from DSW. Because DSW has the exact right shoes for whatever you're into right now. You know, like the sneakers that make office hours feel like happy hour. The boots that turn grocery aisles into runways. And all the styles that show off the many sides of you, from daydreamer to multitasker and everything in between. Because you do it all in really great shoes. Find a shoe for every you at your DSW store or dsw.com.
It's time to get in the zone. Time to get in the zone with the 49ers web zone. This is the No Huddle Podcast with Al and Brian.
What's up, faithful? You're listening to another episode of the 49ers Web Zone No Huddle Podcast, a part of the Odyssey Network. I'm Brian Renick, and I am going solo today. My compadre in 49ers podcasting, Al Sacco, is on assignment. And so I am here today to preview this week. It was a week 16 matchup between two very disappointing and underachieving teams. The 49ers are flying to Miami to face the fellow 6-8 Miami Dolphins. The interesting thing about this matchup, outside of obviously the familiarity with Mike McDaniel and some former players still on that Dolphins squad, Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, both teams, while underachieving and in at 6-8, are technically still alive for the playoffs. So the Miami Dolphins have a bit of an easier path than the 49ers do, but each team is still alive for the playoffs. So while ostensibly it felt like the 49ers season ended last week, and both Al and I are pretty confident that this team is not making the playoffs, there is still a path for the 49ers to make the playoffs, just like there's still a path for the Dolphins to make the playoffs, which means both teams need to win this game. This is a must-win game for both teams if they still want to keep their playoff hopes alive. For the 49ers, Matt Barrows laid out how to make the playoffs. Now, the 49ers are not going to be able to make it via wild card, so they have to win the division. The Seahawks losing to Green Bay last week was a big help. And so on December 18th, Barrows tweeted out the path for the 49ers, and it looks like this. The 49ers have to win out. They have to win their 3 remaining games. They play the Dolphins this week in Miami. They host the reeling Lions, not that they are reeling in record or play, but rather it just feels like they're getting to the point where they're not going to be able to field a defense. They have so many injuries, which is kind of a stark, I guess, I don't know, a stark comparison between the 49ers, who have had their own injuries, and the Lions. The Lions have had a wealth of injuries, and they are still 12-2. And the 49ers have had their own injuries, and they are 6-8. But again, they have to win out at Miami, home for Detroit, and then at Arizona. The path, the part of the path that makes it pretty unlikely is that both the Seahawks and Rams have to lose their next 2 games, and then those teams play each other in week 18, and that game needs to end in a tie. So if the 49ers win out, the Seahawks and Rams lose their next 2 and then tie each other in week 18, and the Cardinals lose to the 3-11 Panthers at home on Sunday. Again, unlikely, but the Panthers have been playing better. Then the 49ers would win the NFC West at 9-8. And so their path to the playoffs, while very, very slim, it's still there. And so both teams are going into this game needing to win in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Dolphins still have an ability to make the playoffs as the last wild card team in the AFC. They are currently 2 games behind the Chargers, who have a pretty tough schedule, including a game tonight against the Broncos. I'm recording this. It is 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday. So they are playing at Denver on Thursday night. They need the Broncos to beat the Chargers. They need the Chargers to lose one more game, and then the Dolphins need to win out. And there's a couple other things that need to happen for the Dolphins, but this is a 49ers podcast. We're not going to get into that. But all of that to say, again, this game does still have some meaning. It looked at the beginning of the season like it could be a game of big importance for both teams, but because of their underachieving, largely due to injuries for the Dolphins, it was that injury to Tua. For the 49ers, it was CMC, and then just a host of other small injuries, including Brandon Ayuk. That's not a small injury, but so this game is interesting because for the most part, I think a lot of fans have kind of checked out on this team already, and I get it. I understand. But there's still some hope. Now, I think most fans would prefer that they lose out because it will make their draft pick better going into a season where we are looking at a massive Brock Purdy extension and the need to replenish both lines of scrimmage, the offensive line and the defensive line. Specifically on the offensive line, they need an upgrade at center. Aaron Banks is a free agent. I don't think they're going to bring him back. They should not bring him back. So they'll be looking for a possible left guard as well. And then on the defensive line, they really need to get Nick Bosa a running mate, a young running mate. Leonard Floyd, they could bring him back next year, but they need somebody opposite Nick Bosa, and then they need to replenish that interior defensive line. So obviously, the higher the draft pick, the more likely you are to be in position to make your team better. And so I think a lot of fans at this point, even though the 49ers can make the playoffs, they would probably prefer that this team lose out and secure a top 15 draft pick to really kind of set off what Al and I have called kind of the next chapter in this 49ers and Kyle Shanahan journey. The old core, right? George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner. It seems like the window is kind of closed for them, and they need to look now to the future. And so while fans would prefer a loss, this is a prideful team. In fact, Mike McDaniel in a press conference earlier this week asked, kind of what his thoughts were on the 49ers being 6-8 coming into this game. Does it make it not necessarily less stressful for him, but he said, one thing I know about that team is they are a prideful team and they pride themselves on playing good football. And so they are going to come into this game looking to play good football.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews or news, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue. And guess what? Now you can call them on your auto insurance too with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. Get your quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Today's podcast is sponsored by MIDI Health. At any given time, 61% of adult women say they want to lose weight. But for many, that's easier said than done. If you've had trouble losing weight, don't lose hope. MIDI Health uses a deep understanding of women's hormones and a combination of weight loss medications to create a customized plan for each user. MIDI Health can help you achieve more effective and sustainable weight loss by addressing hormone imbalances. MIDI can also prescribe proven weight loss medications that help you experience reduced appetite and increased feelings of fullness. When paired with hormone optimization, you're not just managing your weight, you're also supporting your body's natural processes, which means you can overcome those weight loss plateaus that in the past have been so difficult to move beyond. So if you're ready to combine the power of hormones with the power of weight loss medications, visit joinmidi.com today. Discover how this innovative approach can lead you to lasting success. That's joinmidi.com.
This Christmas, give the gift that truly keeps on giving. A lifetime membership to Rosetta Stone. It's perfect for anyone looking to learn or improve their language skills and deepen their connections and open a world of experiences. Imagine being able to converse with family members in their native language, or making the most of that dream international holiday trip. With that in mind, there's no better tool than Rosetta Stone, the most trusted language learning program. Available on desktop and mobile, Rosetta Stone immerses you in the language, so you truly learn to think, speak, and understand it naturally. With Rosetta Stone's intuitive approach, there are no English translations. You're fully immersed. And the built-in True Accent feature acts like a personal accent coach, giving you real-time feedback to make sure you sound just right. Don't put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. Today, listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/rs10. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/rs10 today for yourself or as a gift that keeps giving.
Now, let's take a look at the game. So, the first thing we have to think about, or with this 49ers team, especially this season, are the injuries. And another big one seems to be a foregone conclusion that Isaac Guerrero will not be playing in this game on Sunday. He is nursing a hamstring injury along with the foot injury that he was playing with last Thursday against the Rams. He did not practice on Thursday. Neither did Nick Bosa, and neither did Malik Collins with an illness. And then Trent Williams, Kyle Shanahan basically intimated earlier this week that Trent Williams probably is done for the season. It's just been a difficult road back from his ankle and foot injuries that he suffered against Seattle. And so the Bosa thing, it's a little worrisome. Obviously, you would love to have your best defensive lineman, your best pass rusher, going against a Dolphins team that is ailing on the offensive line and would love nothing more than to throw the ball all over the field. Nick Bosa harassing Tua Tagovailoa is a big part of what this defense is going to need to do in order to shut down this Miami offense, which again has been underwhelming this season, very similar to the 49ers offense. But it's still an offense with Tyreek Hill. Now, when it comes to the Dolphins, that's where it gets a little a little up in the air. Their left tackle Teron Armstead did not practice on Thursday. Neither did wide receiver Dwayne Eskridge. The big one for them, neither did Jalen Waddle, who's dealing with a knee injury. If Waddle doesn't play, it does make this offense a little less explosive. Because really then they're just relying on Tyreek Hill, who hasn't caught a 30-yard plus touchdown since week 1. So I imagine that they are trying to look to get him going. The last time the 49ers played the Dolphins, it was an infamous game. It was the game in which Jimmy Garoppolo went down and Brock Purdy came in and led that team to victory and then just never let go of that starting QB1 position. And in that game, the Dolphins scored on the first play from scrimmage. It was a pass to former 49er, and I am blanking on his name right now. It doesn't matter, to be perfectly honest. But it was I believe it was a 65 or 70-yard touchdown to the house, first play from scrimmage. But from that point on, the 49ers defense really put the clamps on the Miami offense. And I think they're going to look to implement a similar game plan. The 49ers know Mike McDaniel. He was with the organization for 5 years. Kyle Shanahan knows Mike McDaniel. He runs a very similar style of offense as Kyle Shanahan. And the thing that Mike McDaniel loves to do is exploit the middle of the field. And the most important player last time against the Dolphins will likely be the most important player on defense for the 49ers again. And that's Fred Warner, who really shuts down the middle of the field against most offenses. And he did so last time these two faced each other back in 2022. And so I don't know what to expect from this Miami offense. They haven't been nearly as explosive as we've seen in the past. They have really resorted to a short and intermediate heavy passing offense. There hasn't been a lot of downfield. To go back, that Spencer, our producer extraordinaire, dropped in the chat. Trent Sherfield. Thank you, Spencer. Trent Sherfield was the former 49er who scored that touchdown. But this team, it's hard to know what to expect. Just very similar to this 49ers team. We don't really know what to expect week to week. The 49ers absolutely exploded on offense for 38 points against the Bears, the number 5 passing defense in the NFL at the time. And then turned around and put up 6 points against the Rams, a defense that is in the bottom third of the league. This Dolphins defense has been good this season. Not great, but good. Anthony Weaver, their first-year defensive coordinator, former Baltimore Raven, took over for Vic Fangio. And this defense has been playing fine. It's not a world beater. But again, that Rams defense wasn't very good, and the 49ers struggled to run the ball. Struggled to run the ball, but struggled to score points. And that's the thing is they're going to struggle to run the ball again this week because Isaac Guerendo is out. And so you're looking at a running back rotation that is Patrick Taylor Jr., Keyshawn Vaughn, who was signed to the practice squad, I believe, 3 weeks ago, and then Israel Abanikanda, who the 49ers claimed off waivers from the Jets before that Rams game. And so I imagine that it's probably going to be kind of running back by committee. They're going to figure out who has the hot hand and probably go with that. But you're probably going to also see, as we know Kyle Shanahan is wont to do, Deebo Samuel will likely be getting his fair share of carries out of the backfield as well. Again, because they just don't have a bell cow at running back, right? Christian McCaffrey out. Elijah Mitchell out for the season before the season even started. And then Jordan Mason out. Now Isaac Guerendo out. They were down to their 4th string running back, still really effective. But now they're down to their 5th string running back. And so I would imagine that this game plan is probably going to rely on the right arm of Brock Purdy, which, as we discussed in our last episode, I think is still ailing. I don't think his shoulder is right. It'll be interesting to see. Thursday, he dealt with the elements in the first half, and that was part of what kept that offense grounded. But he didn't look great in the second half either, and it wasn't raining until late in the fourth quarter. And he threw that infamous interception to really end the game. One thing that I thought was interesting is both Al and I, again, we recorded that episode right after the game. Both of us were not very happy with the performance. But both of us were pretty dumbfounded by that decision by Purdy and what that throw looked like. But since then, some 49ers Twitter film, I don't want to call them film nerds, but we'll go with it. Film nerds have posted that play. And it certainly looks like Juwan Jennings not only could have drawn a flag for illegal contact against the defender who was initially guarding him, but Jennings put on a double move and the safety, as he put on the double move and went towards the end zone, the safety took coverage. The DB, the cornerback, fell off, and then he was impeded again. So it certainly looks like perhaps Brock saw what he thought was either going to be a free play or at the very least, saw the coverage that he wanted, but Jennings was interfered with. And so the result was an interception. But regardless, still wasn't a great throw. But like I said, really don't know what to expect from either one of these teams on the offensive side of the ball, just because they've been really underwhelming, to be perfectly honest, and downright bad at times. The 49ers offense was downright bad against the Rams last Thursday. So again, it's an interesting game because both teams are still alive mathematically. Both teams, I would hope, are playing with a bit of pride, or wounded pride, if you will, just based on, again, what their record is, what their talent level is, what their expectations going into the season were. This Dolphins team, I think, had thoughts of possibly challenging the Bills for AFC East supremacy. And obviously this 49ers team thought that, they were the class of the NFC West. And now both teams sit at 6-8 with injuries and underperforming offenses. And to me, I think the best unit in this game is the 49ers defense. Greenlaw looks to be, he was a limited participant in practice on Thursday, but has said that he didn't suffer any ill effects for the Achilles in that Thursday night game, and so I imagine he'll be out there. Hufanga will be back out there. No setbacks for his injury. And so, I think, like I said, the best unit in this game is probably that 49ers defense. And it'll be interesting to see if they can, put the clamps on this Dolphins offense to give the 49ers offense at least an opportunity to put up enough points to steal a victory and keep their playoff hopes alive. Again, one thing to monitor, Jalen Moore has a hip issue. He has been practicing. He was limited in practice on Thursday, but that is something to monitor, because if Jalen Moore can't go, then the 49ers offense is going to face even bigger problems, because then you're looking at either Sebastian Gutierrez, who has been with the 49ers for a long time, never started, really hasn't gotten into many games, or the player that they just signed to their practice squad, a tackle might be making the start if Jalen Moore cannot go. And so, again, something to monitor for an offense that already is really kind of facing a stacked deck without Isaac Guerrero and without Brandon Ayuk. But if Jalen Moore can't go, and here's the thing, Jalen Moore has played really well. I believe his PFF pass blocking grade is 91.8 right now, which is massive. And a big part of, again, the game plan in this game is probably going to be to throw the ball a fair amount with the lack of options at running back. And so if there isn't somebody to protect Brock Purdy's blind side, I mean, it could get ugly on offense. So again, a situation to monitor as the week progresses.
Looking to improve your diet in the new year? Try seeing a personal dietitian with Nourish. Nourish has hundreds of dietitians who specialize in a variety of health concerns, including weight loss, gut health, and more. Meet with your dietitian online and message them anytime through the Nourish app. Nourish accepts hundreds of insurance plans. 94% of patients pay $0 out of pocket. Find your personal dietitian at usenourish.com. That's usenourish.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned, and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whenever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout experience as business powerhouses like Alo, Allbirds, and Skims. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Obviously, today was the final practice in pads. They'll have a walkthrough tomorrow. Then they'll fly to Miami on Saturday. I think more information will likely come out. So keep posted on that. And like I said, if Jalen Moore can't go, I don't know what this offense is going to be able to do. But the good news is, like I said, Hufanga will be ready to go. D Winters will be ready to go. Greenlaw limited, but probably likely to go. Bosa didn't practice today, but it didn't necessarily seem like at any point this week that he wasn't gearing up to play. So this defense should be pretty whole, and it will be paramount upon them to play very similarly to the way they played against the Rams. I mean, they only gave up 12 to the Rams. That's a game that the 49ers absolutely should have won if the offense showed up even in the slightest. So would love to see another performance like that from the 49ers defense. There have been some defensive players that have come out, including Nick Bosa, talking about bringing Nick Sorensen back next season. I don't know if that is the right move. I don't know if that is the move that Kyle Shanahan is looking at. There are going to be some interesting names, including Robert Saleh, including Jeff Ulbrich, who Shanahan wanted for the position, but wouldn't be let go by Saleh and the Jets. And so whether the players want Sorensen back or not, I'm not certain that that will play a role. But if they go down the stretch with Greenlaw back in the lineup, with Hufanga back in the lineup, they hold the Rams to 12. If they can hold the Dolphins to 20 or less, 17 or less, if they play well against the Lions and then play well against the Cardinals to close out the season, you may be looking at Sorensen coming back, because he certainly looked a lot better as a defensive coordinator once Hufanga came back against the Bears, and then once Greenlaw came back against the Rams. And so, again, this will be a game. If the 49ers win this game, I personally believe it will be because the defense put in a Herculean effort to really shut down this Dolphins offense. And then, the offense did just enough to pull out the victory. And so to end this little episode, this little preview, I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction. I don't know, guys. It's hard to predict a victory for the 49ers right now, just with everything going on. But I think this team is playing for pride. I think there's a chip on their shoulder. I think Deebo Samuel has a chip on his shoulder after his performance against the Rams. And maybe we see Deebo come out and have a vintage Deebo performance. I would love to see that. I don't necessarily predict that, but I love it. But I do think that the 49ers have the better defense. The Dolphins are beat up on the offensive line. If Nick Bosa plays, I think they can kind of wreak havoc on Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think he'll have a lot of time back there. And he's a little skittish as it is right now. Rightfully so. I would be as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that the 49ers pull out the victory down in South Florida by a final score of, I'm going to go 20-17. So it'll be a low scoring game. They do just enough on offense to pull out a victory and keep their slim playoff hopes alive. And then they will be watching to see if the Vikings take care of the Seahawks and if the Rams lose as well. We will be back to recap this game on Sunday. But until then, and if we don't hear from you before, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We appreciate you guys listening. Please make sure to rate and review, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will be back to recap this game with Al next Sunday. But until then, I'm Brian. Later.
9-0-3. 1, 2, 3.
2400 Sports is an Odyssey company.
When you travel, you want luggage that is durable and makes packing and getting around effortless. That's why luggage from Briggs & Riley is a wise purchase for all your travel needs. Plus, Briggs & Riley has the best lifetime guarantee in the industry. If your bag is ever broken or damaged, they'll repair it free of charge. Briggs & Riley is award-winning luggage, including Best Carry-On by Forbes, the Buy-Side Wall Street Journal, and Wirecutter. Their luggage has smooth, shock-absorbing wheels for easy navigation on any terrain. Visit Briggs-Riley.com.